Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to look at the human body in a slightly different way. I want you to picture your body not just as flesh and bone, but as a sprawling, highly advanced metropolis. And just like any massive city, it absolutely relies on a complex, tireless logistical transport system to keep its billions, well, actually trillions, of cellular citizens alive, functioning, and protected from invaders. Without this infrastructure, the whole city literally collapses. Okay, let's dive into this. How does a single cell survive compared to a human with trillions? It all comes down to a fundamental problem of size. See, if you're a tiny single-celled organism, life is relatively simple. You can just grab whatever you need directly from your surroundings. But when you scale up to a complex, multi-layered organism like us, you can't just rely on your immediate environment. A massive city needs serious, dedicated infrastructure to move the supplies in and take the garbage out. Just look at this comparison here. A unicellular amoeba versus a complex human. For the amoeba, it has a massive surface area relative to its tiny volume. That means the diffusion distance from the outside environment to its center is incredibly short. It can exchange food and waste directly through simple diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. But look at us. We've got multiple, thick cell layers. The distance from our surface to our center is massive. If we relied on diffusion alone to get oxygen to every cell, it would be way, way too slow to keep us alive. So, how do we solve this? Well, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the biological need for transport, the heart's double pump engine, our circulatory highways, the cargo they actually carry, and finally, our immune system's elite security forces. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The need for transport. Overcoming the limits of diffusion. Section 2. Structure of the heart, the double pump engine. Now, what's really interesting about this is our central power source itself. The heart is this highly efficient double pump, brilliantly designed with a thick muscular wall called the septum, separating its two distinct sides. And if you look closely, notice the difference in those lower chambers, the ventricles. The left ventricle has a visibly thicker muscle wall than the right one, and there's a very functional reason for this. The left ventricle has to forcefully pump blood at a super high pressure around your entire body. The right ventricle, on the other hand, it only needs to pump blood at a lower pressure to your lungs, which are pretty much sitting just next door. So let's trace that lower pressure route first. This is known as the pulmonary circuit. Step 1, deoxygenated blood returning from the body flows through a major vessel called the vena cava and enters the right atrium. Step 2, the atrium contracts, forcing that blood down into the right ventricle. Step 3, the right ventricle forcefully contracts, pushing the blood out. And finally, step 4, the blood travels to the lungs. Here, it flows through tiny capillaries past the alveoli to actively drop off carbon dioxide and pick up fresh oxygen. Once that blood is freshly oxygenated, it comes right back for the high-pressure systemic circuit. First up, it flows from the lungs into the left atrium via the pulmonary vein. Next, the atrium contracts, moving the blood into that thick-walled left ventricle we talked about. Then, with a massive, powerful contraction, the left ventricle blasts this oxygen-rich blood out. Finally, it enters the aorta, which is this massive main artery acting as the primary highway out to the rest of the organism. Section 3, the circulatory highway, a closed network of vessels. This highway system is a fully closed circuit, connecting the central heart to literally every vital organ system. You can see the pathways leading up to the lungs, and moving downward, we've got specific arteries and veins servicing the liver, the gut, the kidneys, the whole shebang. It's a highly organized, completely closed loop of biological logistics where blood is contained within vessels at all times, always flowing continuously in one specific direction. So the crucial point here is understanding the difference between your two main types of highways, arteries and veins. An easy trick to remember? Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and this blood is almost always oxygenated, with the pulmonary artery being the one exception. Veins, conversely, carry blood towards the heart. And because blood in the veins is often traveling against gravity and at a much lower pressure, veins feature these tiny internal valves. They basically act like one-way street signs to prevent blood from flowing backward. Pretty smart, right? As those arteries get closer to your organs, they branch out into narrower local roads, finally becoming capillaries. And capillaries are absolutely remarkable. Their walls are exactly one single cell thick. This creates an incredibly short diffusion distance. They're actually designed to be kind of leaky, allowing blood plasma to seep out and form tissue fluid around your cells. This makes it completely effortless for vital substances to diffuse out of the blood and right into the cells where they're needed most. But what exactly are those vital substances? Section 4. Blood cells and cargo. The delivery system. So what's actually on these delivery trucks? The blood is hauling a pretty diverse manifest. It delivers oxygen, which is bound specifically to the hemoglobin in your red blood cells, alongside glucose and water. These are the absolute crucial fuels your cells need for respiration to create energy. But simultaneously, it's acting as a waste management system. It picks up the byproducts of all this cellular activity, primarily hauling away carbon dioxide and a waste product called urea. And yes, urea is the stuff that eventually becomes urine. It's hauled away so it can be cleanly expelled from the body. Section 5. The Immune System Defense. Elite Security Forces. But hey, this highway system isn't just for delivery trucks. It's also heavily utilized by your white blood cells. These are highly sophisticated security forces that constantly patrol the circulatory highways, actively scanning for dangerous pathogenic microorganisms. To understand how they operate, we need to quickly define two critical terms that make up their targeting system. First is an antigen. Think of this as a uniform, or a molecular marker on the surface of a pathogen that flags it as foreign to your body. Second is an antibody. This is a special protein produced by your immune system designed to perfectly match and bind to one specific type of antigen. Our white blood cells basically fall into two main specialized units. You've got your phagocytes, which act as general frontline defenders. They have sensitive cell surface membranes that detect pathogen chemicals. When they find a threat, they literally engulf it and release digestive enzymes to just destroy it. It's a broad, non-specific response. Then we have lymphocytes. Now, these are your highly specialized tactical units. They provide a specific immune response by producing custom antibodies tailored precisely to a single pathogen's antigen. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how it works. A lymphocyte produces a unique antibody that perfectly complements the physical shape of the invading antigen, kind of like a lock and a key. Each lymphocyte only produces one type of antibody. When they find their perfect match, they bind directly to the pathogen to neutralize it or mark it for destruction. Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly coordinated sequence during an actual infection. It's amazing. First, a pathogen invades and multiplies in the bloodstream. Then it releases toxins, which is what actually triggers your symptoms. In response, those general frontline phagocytes start non-specifically engulfing the invaders. Then, a lymphocyte encounters the pathogen and recognizes its specific antigens. The tactical response kicks in. The lymphocyte starts producing specific matching antibodies, and, critically, it clones itself to produce an entire army of cells pumping out that exact antibody. These antibodies mark the pathogens, allowing the phagocytes to finally engulf and digest the neutralized threats. But the real magic of the immune system? It doesn't end when the battle is won. Some of those cloned lymphocytes stick around in the body as memory cells. They remain long-term, acting as a permanent biological database. They remember the exact lock and key antibody needed. This is what gives you immunity. If that exact same pathogen ever tries to invade your city again, these memory cells will instantly recognize it and rapidly produce antibodies before the pathogen can multiply and cause symptoms. You won't even know they were there. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought. From the thick walls of your left ventricle pumping right this exact second, to the miles and miles of one-cell-thick capillaries, to the silent memory cells patrolling for threats you encountered years ago, this complex, microscopic metropolis inside you is working tirelessly. Your engine never stops, the highways never close. So the real question is, knowing all of this, how well are you fueling it? Thanks for joining me, and keep exploring.